Further delving in, JMPD says they have enough manpower on the ground and to continue with the day-to-day services. It comes as multiple law enforcement agencies conduct a joint traffic operation here at the G20 Leaders Summit next weekend. Earlier on the show, JMPD spokesperson Xolani Fihla provided motorists with alternative routes.
SABC, host broadcaster of the G20 South Africa 2025.
We know that it's all hands on deck. We are preparing for next week's summit. We've got officers on the ground. They've been on the ground since early this morning, ensuring that they do secure these routes. And the major routes, of course, that will be affected within the city of Johannesburg is the N1, the M1, the N12, and of course arterial and urban routes as well in areas like Sandton and Sandton, especially Grayson Drive, where we'll be seeing most of the movement, in the areas of Melrose Arc, in Rosebank, in Westcliff and in Parkview, in the south of Johannesburg, where we are right now on the Rancho Road, on Nasrec Road and the Golden Highway, and of course in areas like Fourways on Winnie Mandela Drive and in Roodepoort on Hendrik Potgieter Road. But specifically within this area where we are, that's where we are going to be seeing more of the road closure, and especially leading towards the G20 Summit. We have a contingency plan when it comes to our boots on the ground and our manpower as well. As we do know, when it comes to the actual summit and these operations leading towards the summit, it is a joint coordinated effort with various law enforcement agencies. So as the JMPD, we do have extra manpower to continue with the day-to-day enforcement and service delivery within the city of Johannesburg.
Well, for more on road closures in Johannesburg, let's cross to Dludla for some early coverage. Now, Calvin, good morning. So perhaps you can tell us where you are at this point in terms of traffic, what's happening on the routes. We're edging closer to 9 o'clock, so minimal disruptions at this point, but state of readiness, what's happening on your end as we speak?
The reason why we are here at Oxford is because Oxford Road is one of the roads that will be closed today. I will have to step out of shot so that our video journalist Dludla can be able to show you that even members of JRA are busy at work. You'd remember that Rosebank is one of the busy places on this side of town. There is a Rosebank Mall, the Zone, and how train station, which makes this place a bit busier. Remember, it's the weekend and there are those who are lucky, Lizel, that they got paid yesterday, so they will be going out shopping. These road closures will affect them. As I have mentioned, that Hlomla Hlangane is now showing officials from the Johannesburg Roads Agency as they are busy at work. That gentleman there is busy painting lanes and roads signs. Also, what is more impressive is that the JMPD officials are visible in every corner here in Rosebank. Hlomla Hlangane showing you some of the officials from Johannesburg Metropolis departments. They are monitoring the situation, as I have mentioned. Every corner here in Rosebank and Sandton and surrounding areas, officials are busy at work. You'd remember that in less than 2 hours from now, these roads will be closed. The Lopang Alamu is still in Nasrec. We will be linking to her now.
Thanks, Calvin. I know that you've just alluded to the fact that Lopang is also standing by. Earlier on, you were in Sandton. You've now made your way to Rosebank area. Visible police presence in the background there. We can see the work happening by Johannesburg Road Agency. So we'll obviously monitor that as we continue with the dried run and assess the state of preparedness. Lopang Alamu is also standing by for that. You were at Nasrec, and this is where a lot of the major events for the G20 Leaders Summit will be taking place next weekend. But for now, we're here and we're looking at all things in terms of state of readiness. Where are you at this point and what's happening as we speak?
Liesel, we're still on that stretch of the Nasrec Road. In fact, we just saw the third part of this operation taking place. So we've been seeing quite a number of law enforcement, so basically practicing these routes And this really has a lot to do with the safety of those world leaders who will be in Johannesburg next week. In fact, speaking of Johannesburg, now we speak to a ward councillor here, Matsobane Siku, who is the councillor for Ward 125. Now, I think really one of the most important things about the G20, and this is a question that has been coming up for a number of months now. Do South Africans know what the G20 is? And if so, do they understand its impact? And in fact, these road closures, something as simple as the road closures, do they know what all of that is about? Do they understand the extent of the inconvenience that will come with those road closures? We'll do speak now to Matsobane Siku, ward councillor for Ward 125. I think it's quite interesting, the conversation that we had of Matsobane about whether or not South Africans, particularly, let's speak about the people in your ward, do you think they were informed timeously, specifically regarding these road closures?
Look, I still have a lot of questions that are being asked from the residents, and that tells me that there wasn't enough information that was relayed to the communities. There were some public participation, some meetings with the communities, but the first one happened outside of our region into another region. That was a fiscal meeting. We had one that was a virtual meeting, and I can tell you on that meeting, the virtual one, we had a lot of people coming out to show that, you know, they are really interested in knowing what is happening with this G20 summit. But I think we still do not understand or have a clear information of what is it all about, you know.
And Matsobane, just if you could just summarize some of the changes that you've seen as a resident as well as a ward councillor. Do you think that you've started seeing some kind of service delivery? And if so, do you think that the city can maintain some of that service delivery that we've seen over the past few weeks?
Yes, look, it's not for the first time we're having an international event, and that is one of the questions that comes from the community to say, you know, we see the potential of what we can do when it comes to service delivery. Some of the street lights and your traffic lights were not working in the area for years, but suddenly they are up and running. Everything is looking beautiful. As you can see, we have new flower beds here, but the worry is, do we still have money as entities, you know, like your city parks, your JRA? Do we still have money to continue with the services, you know, until the end of the financial year? Or was the budget exhausted during the event? And then after that, we're going back to what we have always been experiencing, you know. So that's one of the worries. But it would be a great thing that we maintain this. We saw during the World Cup that, you know, we had some beautiful stuff. And then after the World Cup, everything just went into it deteriorated.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to leave it there as we track this particular part of the operations. I keep looking back, in fact, Liesl, just to try and see if we're not going to have those visuals of some of that practice run. They normally come from this side, but it seems as though that part of the operation has been halted. We're also just going to try and move around, assess the area, and in fact, it's been quite busy now. Just an hour left until these roads are officially closed, and then can we only then see the extent of the inconvenience. Now, this is where the motorists will now have to find alternative routes. We've actually seen some of the motorists trying to use this stretch of the road, but they were unfortunately turned back. I'm going to leave it there for now as we try and assess the situation a little bit more, Liesl.
Thanks, Lopang. Let's see if we can get some of those visuals and the action, obviously, with regards to the practice runs that are obviously happening just behind you there. Thank you for that update. Preparedness is going to make an indelible mark on the perception of our country, perhaps also Gauteng as the host province and city. And so we're just wondering how this is going to continue beyond the G20. Let's see how we monitor that.